Well, today I think we should do an assessment. See what we got in this 1946 Chevy Fleetline Sports Coupe. I'd like to figure out what color it was. We've got keys for it. That's absolutely amazing. The guy that sold it to us on the big industrial lot over there said he used to be a locksmith, so I guess keys mean a lot to him. So there's a key for the ignition and a key that opens the doors. Actually quite amazing, isn't that? Well, what do we got here? We need to free these wheels up. Yeah, I'll just put some WD-40 or something on all of the nuts. I think we'll put tires on the back. Interesting thing is the wheels on this Chevy here, 4x4 Chevy, that would look good on this car. Same bolt pattern as the wheels on the, and same size wheels, 16-inch wheels. I mean, they're huge. I guess it was the thing in the day, you know, have really tall tires. So I've got a set of old Winters that I'm going to put on here if they'll fit. They're 9 inches wide, and I think there's only like 11 inches inside the fender wells. I think do it right on the trailer and put those wheels on so that we can roll it off and on easier and make sure that the wheels turn. I think they turn. At the beginning, when I started to drag it through the mud to load it the other day, it seemed like the back wheels weren't turning, but then once we got them up on the trailer, they turned. The front wheels, front tires are still holding air. Buried in the mud, but there they were. They've still got air in them. Well, that's a good thing, you know. Yeah, so let's do that. Put those wheels on. Then we'll start taking a look through the car. We'll unhook the truck and get room here. Probably hook it onto the front because eventually we'll unload this thing. But I'd like to take some of the stuff out of the inside, out of the trunk and so on, and just see what we got. So we managed to like barely get these tires on. There's no way you could drive it like that because they're the right height and the right bolt pattern, but the width is way too much. Actually at the front, they work okay. They're not hitting anywhere, which is surprising. And so if you go online and you look for this bolt pattern, right, the 6-hole, 5.5 inch, or 139.7 or whatever it is, you get truck tires, right? You get these. And so it'll be okay for rolling it off the trailer and, you know, moving it around or whatever. But yeah, there's no way. So now what that does is it makes a difference in the overall plan. To buy tires that fit on these wheels, like the wheels are fine, and it's got hubcaps, I think. To buy the tires, it's like $300, $400 US each for bias ply tires. Well, I paid $980 US for this car, 1,300 Canadian. So it would be cheaper to change the rear end, and of course then you'd get proper shock absorbers, update the springs and so on. So yeah, I'm thinking probably not stock for the axles and running gear. And the other thing is it's the torque tube transmission, or torque tube drive line, right, which is the sealed drive shaft. Back in the 40s, I guess they were okay. That's what they used. Probably worked fine, but really hard to adapt a transmission to it or whatever. So it's better just to clear all that out, put in a typical 10-bolt, 12-bolt Chevy rear end or whatever if you're not drag racing, and then, you know, build a drive shaft for it, whatever transmission. First glance at this car, you notice these big dents in the roof. There's a big one here, crease there, crease across here, another set up here. I would suspect that's kind of what the guy considered, you know, to set his price. The great thing about this is that it's very easy to take out. All you need to do is, well, my 42 Chevy panel truck had one just like this in the back corner, really deep. Front end loader or something, you know, as farm cars, right? And I put a 2x4 and a hydraulic jack on the floor and just jacked it out and got most of it out. So I think with this one here, probably what I'll do for now is I'll take those big dents out just to make it look better. In the end, we'll take these windows out anyway, and then we can hammer that smooth And then we've got 5, 6, 7 patches that we need to do for rust. This is very classy. Nice curved window on the back. It looks really nice. I love the front flat glass. My 29 Dodge has that, my 42 Chev truck has that. The great advantage to that is, especially in Canada, you get so many rock chips all the time. And that flat glass, you can just replace it. You don't have to order it from somewhere, you just go down to a glass shop and they'll cut it. Basically all across the back here, the bottom of the trunk lid and below the taillights needs to have patch panels. Okay, that stays open. And then we can kind of see what's looking like on the inside, back in these corners. And inside the trunk too, across the back of the car, there's rust. Well, the trunk floor is gone. Nothing left. Big holes. Otherwise, I think we're solid there. There's no rust showing on this side of the front fender, but I think the other side has a bit. Man, it's in good shape, you know. A little bit of pitting. Because of all the chrome and the trim on this thing, it would be a good candidate for a nice paint job, honestly. It would look really good. So, the verdict is, it's still ugly. Well, it'll look nice all chromed up, won't it? But needs new glass, except for the back window, but everything else needs to be new because it's starting to separate. All new rubbers, of course, although all the rubbers are there, but they're just brittle and rotten. There's no rust in the floor at all, which is really good. The trunk is totally rusted out. The back body cross member, not the frame cross member, but the body cross member at the back of the trunk will have to be replaced, and then the floor up until kind of that hump where it goes up to the back seat. The back bumper is in really good shape. I don't think it's ever been hit. The front bumper has a little ding here, and the splash pan has a bit of a ding. But a big plus is that all of the trim, the chrome, everything is all here. There's not one piece missing, which is a real blessing. That 49 Chev, I'm still looking for the back, the rear spear on the other side. Just really hard to find, you know, so it's great when they're all here. And not only all here, but in really good shape, not binged up. Especially happy with those bottom ones along the rockers, because both sides are all there and not binged up. Now the rock guards on this car are made out of rubber, so you can just buy the rubber one for there. The other side still has the rubber on it, but it is all rotten, of course. There's one piece of chrome here that I'm going to have to find a replacement for, or possibly eliminate it or do something else. So obviously this car was kept somewhere where nobody could get at it. That's really what it is, because all of the parts are here. Yeah, I'll look forward to working on this one in a year or two. In the meantime, I will find some kind of a powertrain for it. Maybe a newer straight 6. Convert everything over to 12 volt. Yeah, so one challenge that I have is, I now have one too many cars. Like seriously, there is no place to park this. So I've got two 51 Chev two-door hardtops there, and I'll certainly never fix two of them. You know, like you do one, that's nice project. The other's not necessarily a parts car, it's a good car. So there's two of them, and they're pretty well all there. Not as complete as this one, but they're good start, good project. And so I think what I'll do is I'll drag those out and put the one up for sale, try to get rid of it, and I can park this one in its place. And one more thing, maybe Well, not the biggest, but a huge part of a project is in the planning and in the waiting and the watching. You know, don't just run out there and buy something because you want to do a project or because something's available. But you know, you take your time. One of the things that is bothersome, I think, to all of us that like to fix old cars, is when guys think they're sitting on a gold mine. And they're not sitting on a gold mine. The amount of time and energy and money that you got to put into this car, the actual buying the basic car has got to be the smallest part of it. You know, just looking at the rubber moldings and stuff that's needed, probably about $3,000 or $4,000 just for the rubber moldings for the windows and that kind of stuff around the doors. And you know, you can sink a lot of money into a project, and it's no wonder they are reaching, you know, $40,000, $50,000, $60,000, $100,000 that guys are trying to sell them for, because they got more than that in them, right? So the key again, always watch and wait until you get something that you want, and then look for a donor car that's going to match well, that'll supply you with just about everything you need: engine, transmission, all of the stuff, brakes, wiring, steering column is important, rear end. You'll probably have to get a radiator made or buy one that actually fits like the 46 Chev. And then the upholstery. These seats are all here, but the mice have just totally chewed them up. And that's, somebody started taking the car apart to try and stop the mice. They were taking the fluff out of the seats and putting it in every crack and corner in the car. So I just vacuumed all that out. What a mess. But the seats are still recognizable. And the great thing about that is you can actually pull the skins off the seats and the panels off the doors and the quarters and so on. And what I've done several times is take them all, fold them up and put them in a suitcase and take them to Thailand and get an upholstery shop to reproduce them just like that. Just use them for a pattern. And then I bring them back and fix the seats up, you know, put foam and whatever you need to do, make it nice. And then stretch those new skins over and staple them and tack them into place and so on. But now I've bought a sewing machine, so I think I'm going to try and do it myself. It looks like a lot of fun. It may be a good thing to do when it's 40 below. I also did a preliminary job on the roof. It was quite caved in spots all along, and so I just jacked it up from the inside with a hydraulic jack and a 2x4, and got it to the point where now when I take the windows out of it, I'll be able to hammer and dolly it and get it smooth. Because the whole thing from front to back was pretty caved in, and took a dent out of the hood as well. It's kind of a nice thing to do, you know. You organize the project. Yeah, I put the seats in it, but I thought, you know what, let's just bolt it all together and have it all in one piece. Put everything back, put the starter back on the engine and put the radiator back in, you know, so that when you go to work on it, you're starting with something that's you've already organized, you know, and you have a good idea what needs to be done. So I'm looking forward to working on this one, but for now it's going to be put away. Happy project hunting, and thanks for subscribing so we can get this out to more people. I appreciate it. Happy project building. Don't bite off more than you can chew, but always learn new things so that you can do more than you ever did before.